So, Shekhem Ur Shekhem, we know from certain animal behavior, like bears and so forth, they go into a hibernation type of thing in this winter season. Uh, is this what you're speaking about when you say you're using the term geomagnetic forces? Is that what they're following that guides their
Well,
insight?
in the case of the hibernation of bears and those animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are following the winter season. You see that? But the solstice is a geomagnetic force, meaning, like you take, for example, people in the northern hemisphere, extreme northern hemispheres, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the solstice happens to coincide with the winter months. So the behavior of the animals will be more geared towards the winter, the cold setting in, so they begin to, the system triggers a response to conserve energy and vitality. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You take, for example, the ancient Egyptians, okay, and who they exist. The location was 4 degrees north, right? They're just a few degrees away from the equator. So
Mm-hmm.
in ancient Egypt, which leaves the world in understanding of the solstice and what it means and so forth, they never experienced a winter,
Mm-hmm.
like the north, and so on. Yet they also took opportunity of that time to go within their spirit, within the psyche, to purify and regenerate. You see that? The same
Mm-hmm.
thing in Mexico and Peru, where they have, pyramids that are also linked to the solstices and equinoxes. They do not respond in a manner that is, let's say, associated with the season of the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say the driving force is a geomagnetic force. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that the same cycle that occurs in a period of a year, you see that, occurs with the same set of energies, but in the period of 24 hours as well, meaning that we experience a 24-hour circling of the same forces that take a year, you see, and we call it, the winter cycle, the summer solstice and the winter solstice, whatever. But that cycle occurs also in 24 hours. It also occurs monthly. You see that? It
Mm-hmm.
also occurs, you see, every 12 years as well. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So, just not annually. So since the fourth, we know that winter does the winter summer, which is a 12-month cycle, doesn't reproduce itself in 24 hours or a month. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
But those Germanic forces, they do that. They do repeat, on those periodic levels.
So, in terms of learning how to live in harmony with those cycles, and you mentioned not swimming upstream, but linking our goals and our work to these cycles. How would you distinguish, the monthly cycle versus the annual cycle versus in other words, what's the importance of how we tend to track our lives from year to year? Is there something significant about the 12-month cycle?
Well, the 12-month cycle is the period in which the faculty that governs our ability, to deal with the major concerns of life. You see that? Those
Mm-hmm.
faculties are on a 12-month, cycle of periodicity. You see that? So it doesn't make any sense to try to work with a 24-hour, aspect of that cycle, or a monthly aspect, and
Mm-hmm.
so on. Um, and the people who deal with that tracking are the people who are, the great, Bazi masters and feng shui masters and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
But
raised the point because a lot of us, whether we're doing New Year's resolution, or a lot of people, they try to do planning for their business, their career, whatever. And just over the years, I've noticed that most people just don't, including myself, you say you're going to do certain things, and 2 or 3 months into the year, when you speak to people, it's like, oh yeah, I got to get back to that, or it doesn't seem like people can really hold on to the plan and to the execution through a period of a year. Is
Right.
that because of not applying meditation or other techniques to it?
Well, the ancient people understood that, and they divided the year into four major cycles, four major sub periods. You see, I would say four major periods, meaning a set of ceremonies and meditation were done at the winter solstice. Another set, that's December 20th to 24th. Another set of rituals and meditation were done at the spring equinox, because other faculties take over, at that time. Then another set of rituals were done on the summer solstice. As a matter of fact, Christmas was, which is part of the ideation around, the renewal of those faculties, used to be celebrated in Rome in June, not in December 25th, but June 25th. You see that? Okay, and another set of ceremonies were then done at the autumnal, equinox. And it's not a question of people not, having the mindset to stick with it. Is that a different set of faculties, are in charge of each quarter of the year. You see that? Meaning that, from December to March, those 3 months, we need to dedicate ourselves to renewing, our divine self-image and to renewing our relationship with God. You see that? You see, in other words, during the winter months, which is triggered by the winter solstice. You see that? We're going to spend those 3 months, renewing our union with God. You see that? In other words, when we get into the business of living the conflicts and the hustle and bustle, we tend to, lose our connection with God, and spiritual things. And so we become more transactional and so on. So the winter months, triggered by the winter solstice, those 3 months are best utilized, let's say, renewing our oneness with God, and then now cleaning out. There's a chakra called the Swadhisthana. You see that? Which has been named the sex chakra. You see that? It's really the chakra that governs our emotionality and sensuality, no matter what kind its presentation. So it's a time to purify that, to put the seed, you see, that will drive our psychic energy to the accomplishment of our goals. You see that? So that's the work that we need to focus on from December to March. Renew or establish for the first time our relationship with God. You see that? Lots of people don't know that God is there waiting for us to partner with God. You see that? Okay? Because we are limited in our knowledge, our power, our presence throughout the universe. We're limited, okay? And we need divine help to achieve our goals. And the time to establish that union or renew it and to strengthen it is the winter months. You see that? Then now come the spring. If we find that we are short in inventive and creative ability and partner with others, partnering skills, then we can, if we choose to, we can then now strengthen the chakras and the spiritual faculties that are in charge of our creativity and our partnering with other people and so on. So each part of the year, each quarter of the year, a different set of faculties, are devoted to, the different areas of our life.